All right, y'all. AEW Dynamite review for October 12th, 2022. It was the debut in Canada. First ever episode of Dynamite in Canada. Pretty cool. Show starts off with Renee Paquette, John Moxley's wife. She is now a part of AEW. She's doing the interviewing backstage and in the ring, I guess. She brings out Christian Cage. Christian guarantees a win for Luchasaurus. And then we got the first match starts. Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus German suplexes Jungle Boy. Luchasaurus sets up a table outside the ring. And then Luchasaurus is on the apron. And then Jungle Boy power bomb. There's like a sunset power bomb through the table. That looked pretty badass. Jungle Boy set up Luchasaurus in the corner, upside down. Luchador used his legs to slam Jungle Boy's head to the mat. That shit looked nasty. And then Luchasaurus hit a Razor's Edge into the opposite corner. And Luchasaurus chokeslammed Jungle Boy for a 2 count. Jungle Boy hit the kill switch for a near fall, trying to rub it in Christian's face. And then Jungle Boy locked in the snare trap. Luchasaurus grabbed the ropes. Luchasaurus he stomped he slammed Jungle Boy into the ground for the win. All right, next up we got Samoa Joe and Wardlow. They're called War Joe. Another random tag team thrown together. There's QT Marshall and Nick Comoroto. Wardlow hit a belly-to-belly suplex on Comoroto. Wardlow hit a spine buster and a swanton on Comoroto, and then Samoa Joe choked out Nick Comoroto, and then he tapped for the win. After the match, Brian Cage and his group, the Embassy, they come out, and then FTR and Sean Spears come out, so it's going to be FTR and Sean Spears versus the Embassy on Rampage. Yeah, so next up, there's a segment in the back with Jericho and Danny Magic and Angelo Parker, the JAS. Parker says Brian made this personal by trying to poach Daniel Garcia. Jericho says Garcia hasn't returned his calls or texts. Chris said he's going to out-wrestle Brian, outfight Brian, and then he says, I'm going to leave T-Dot, the Ring of Honor champion. Next up, we got Swerve versus Billy Gunn. Come to the company to the ring by Acclaimed. Swerve drop kicks Billy Gunn. Billy hit a tilt-a-whirl slam. And Billy hit 2 clotheslines and a suplex. Swerve hit the flatliner, and then Swerve hit the double stomp off the top rope for a 2 count. Swerve, so he went for the pin, and he was near the ropes, and he hooked his arm under the bottom rope, and he pinned Billy for the win. Acclaim comes out to check on him, and then the lawyer Mark Sterling comes out with Tony Nese. He brings out a document. He says the document says that he owns a trademark to scissor me, so no more scissoring for the Acclaimed. They were about to scissor, and he says, no, I'll sue your ass and shit like that. So they'll probably get the name back. Fucking Mark Sterling. Okay. He's asking to get his ass whooped every week. All right, next up, we got a backstage segment with MJF. He gets cut off by Stokely Hathaway of the Firm. And MJF says, Daddy's going to put you in a timeout. This is strike 2. He says strike 1 was last week, getting involved after his match with Wheeler Yuta. And he says, if you do that again, I'm going to fire you. And then he says, for job security purposes, take your Carlton Banks wardrobe, wear an ass out of my shot. And Stokely Hathaway leaves, and now it's just MJF and Alex Marvez, the interviewer, in the back. He asked him about William Regal and what that was all about last week. MJF says, Willie, me and you, we got a dark past, one you do not want to be reminded of. I'm not afraid to tell you the story at a young age. I had to learn the hard way that nice guys finish last. I know everyone at locker room hates my guts. Waking up in the morning, look in the mirror. I have no choice but to be the bad guy. I have broken my own hand, punching my reflection. I will become champion. Pretty good segment from MJF, like always. And then next up, we got a segment with Moxley. He comes out. He says pretty much 3 years he's been in the company. He says other competitors, they come in all shapes, sizes, and styles. Try to knock me off the top of the mountain. They all think they want what I got. They ain't walk a mile in my shoes. Being world champion ain't easy. You got a target on your back. Everybody wants something from you. You live every day in physical pain. Everybody wants to see you fall. World champion does not have the luxury of being anxious, fear, or doubt, or hesitation, or second guesses. Being world champion is a dirty job, and you got to be ruthless and indiscriminate. And Hangman Adam Page comes out. He grabs a mic from Moxley, or Moxley gives a mic to him, and then Hangman says, "Whatever you have to say about me, I want you to say it to my face. In the ring, you said you respect me as a person. I would be lying if I didn't tell you that coming from you meant the world to me, because I've watched you for these past 3 years and I've come to respect you inside and out of the ring. You're a hell of a champion. There have been times in the past 3 years when I looked at you and I saw the kind of man that I wanted to be." So then there's a shot of MJF's in the arena. Everybody in the crowd took their phones out and started recording and chanting MJF. And Adam Page says, "Last week you shattered the illusions I had about you when you called me a nice kid." Says, "You think I'm a kid?" And this is when Hangman Page really started to get pissed off. He started yelling at Moxley. He said, "You think I'm a kid? Is that how you feel about me? I'm asking you a question. Am I a kid to you?" And Moxley says, "That's exactly what I think about you. I don't think you're the same guy that knocked me off the 20-foot ladder about a year ago." Says, "Next week, if you got the shot to take me out, I don't think you got the guts to pull the trigger." Shots at Mox or at Hangman Page. And Page says, "Maybe I'm not the same guy I was this time last year. I hesitated in May, and it cost me this championship. I went for the trios championship with my best friends, and we failed. My old friends, they have disappeared." Talking about Omega and the Bucks here. I think that's the first time they ever brought them up without mentioning them by name on TV ever since the post All Out fight. And he says, "After all that I've done, I'm left with nothing. So I'm not the same. I'm angry. I'm still here because I am a man. I keep coming back." And then as soon as he said that, he just kept punching his own forehead. He says, "Because I'm a man, damn it. I don't care if your sister's there. I don't care if your mother is there in the crowd." He's talking about their world title match next week. It's in Moxley's hometown. "I will beat you within an inch of your life to take this back, the thing that I should never let slip away. Look at me now. I have nothing. I have a shot. I have my word. I will be the next AEW world champion." And then the crowd starts chanting for MJF. This might have been, or probably was, Hangman Page's best promo that he's ever cut. So pretty good. Last segment to build up to the match next week. And it's going to be on Tuesday for the world title in the main event. All right, next up, we got Jericho versus Bryan for the Ring of Honor title, world title. Jericho's coming in the ring with Danny Magic and Angelo Parker. Chris hit a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. Chris hit a DDT. And Chris hit a drop kick with Bryan on the apron. Bryan hit a avalanche butterfly suplex off the top rope. Bryan locked at the crossface. Jericho countered into the wall of Jericho. And then Bryan countered into the walls of Jericho using his own move in his home country. And then Jericho pins Bryan for a near fall. Bryan elbows Chris to the chest. Jericho hit the fireman carry for a 2 count. Bryan hit a leaping knee off the top rope. Jericho hit a code breaker for a near fall, and then Chris he shoved Brian to the ref. Ref was down, and Danny Magic grabbed the belt, gave it to Jericho. Jericho was waiting for Brian to get up. Garcia comes out. He takes the belt out of Jericho's hands, getting in his face, and then Brian hits the running knee on Chris. And then Garcia hits the running knee on Brian. So people thought he was going to be with Brian, and now he's back with Chris. So is this it, or he's going to switch back, or stay with Chris? I don't know. And then Jericho pinned Brian for the win. The ref slowly crawled towards Chris to make the pin, or to make the count. After the match, Blackpool Combat Club comes out to check on Brian. And that was pretty much it for that. Next up, we got bottom middle on the screen there. Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker versus Tony Storm and Hikaru Shida. Hayter hit a big boot on Storm. Hikaru Shida hit a jumping knee on Baker. Shida hit a suplex on Baker, or on Jamie Hayter. Shida hit a Meteora for a 2 count. Jamie Hayter hit a backbreaker on Shida, and then Baker and Hayter hit a double super kick on Shida, and then there was like a back and forth pin, one person pinning each other, like the roll ups. Shida eventually got the last pin and pinned Baker for the win. It was a solid match, I guess. All right, next up, we got the top right. Main event is Pac versus Orange Cassidy for the AEW All Atlantic Championship. Pac hit the Falcon Arrow on the outside. Pac hit a tombstone on Cassidy on the ramp. Pac locked in the brutalizer submission. Cassidy got out of it. Orange Cassidy hit a DDT on the outside. So Pac was on the outside. Cassidy's in the ring. He did a suicide dive, and then he tornado DDT Pac, and then Pac like contorted his body like right after he took the DDT. That was pretty badass. Orange Cassidy hit the orange punch for a 2 count, and Orange Cassidy hit a beach break on the apron. Pac went to the outside to go grab the hammer for the ring bell. Somebody puts his hand right when he grabs the hammer. Somebody grabs Pac's hand. He's wearing like a hoodie and like a mask and stuff. He takes all that stuff off, and it's Danhausen. Pac, Danhausen does a stupid point curse thing, and then Pac punches him, pretty much just drops his ass, and then ref puts the hammer away. He's pretty much confronting Pac, and then there's another hammer that Pac hit under the ring. He grabs that one. Orange Cassidy dodges the hit, and then he orange punches him twice for the win. It was an okay show. Not too bad for a debut in Canada. But yeah, that was pretty much it for Dynamite. See you guys.